Hello everyone, welcome back to Review and Rate. Today, we're entering into a world of snipers and evil bad guys. That's right, we're going to get behind these soldiers and take them down silently to talk about Sniper Ghost Warrior Contracts 2, a game developed by CI Games and released in 2021. If you're a fan of sniping, stealth, and mission-based open world games, you won't want to miss this review. Now, let's get a great sniper shot and get ready to enter the world of Sniper Ghost Warrior Contracts 2. The gameplay of Sniper Ghost Warrior Contracts 2 is just like the previous game, great, and in many ways it's even better, although it still has some issues. The game follows a very similar structure to the previous Contracts title, featuring an open world experience split into separate levels called Contracts, where you fast travel between locations, complete missions, finish challenges, and explore the maps. You once again fight the same types of enemies, although they have different appearances, and just like in the previous game, these soldiers still behave like complete morons most of the time. The game also brings back the large selection of weapons, gadgets, attachments, and character upgrades that you purchase or unlock by spending skill points, giving you plenty of ways to customize your playstyle. However, what makes this game different is that the contracts are now divided into two distinct styles, long range contracts and classic contracts. The long range contracts are completely new and have you eliminating targets from incredible distances, requiring specialized long range sniper rifles to complete these missions effectively, which I thought was a very interesting addition. Meanwhile, the classic contracts play much like those in the previous game, where you infiltrate enemy bases on foot using either an action focused or stealth focused approach. There's also an additional difficulty option that provides an even greater challenge, making the game more rewarding for players looking for a tougher experience. Unfortunately, the cutscenes that introduce each contract are worse than those in the previous game and feel less engaging. The enemies may still be dumb as I mentioned earlier, but they are noticeably better at detecting the player compared to the previous game, making stealth a little more challenging. Instead of the snowy mountains and forests from the previous game, Contracts 2 takes players through well-designed desert environments that are enjoyable to explore and fit the setting very well. The checkpoint system is also a major improvement. Unlike the frustrating checkpoints in the earlier games, this time the game saves your progress much more reliably, making deaths far less annoying. In addition to the stealth takedowns from the previous game, Contracts 2 introduces several new takedown animations, and they are really satisfying to watch. Here, take a look at them. Even the sniper shots feel much more satisfying than before, and the cinematic bullet kill cams are even better this time around. Here are some of these amazing shots. Now let's talk about the story. The story of Sniper Ghost Warrior Contracts 2 is just like the previous game, pretty weak, boring, and almost non-existent. Just like in Contracts 1, you play as a government agent, this time named Raven, who works for a mysterious government official that eventually reveals his name is Alex near the end of the game. Unfortunately, this reveal has little impact since the game does almost nothing with the character. The plot itself is extremely generic. You are the hero sent to eliminate dangerous targets and stop the plans of the evil villains in a region called Kuwamar. There is very little depth or character development, making the story forgettable and uninteresting from beginning to end. Now let's talk about the graphics. The graphics of Sniper Ghost Warrior Contracts 2 are great and are a slight improvement over the visuals in Contracts 1. The environments and overall atmosphere look excellent, with the desert landscapes being particularly impressive whether you are exploring them during the day or at night. The new long-range missions especially showcase the game's visuals well, as the enemy bases still look detailed and impressive even when viewed from extremely long distances through your sniper scope. Just like Contracts 1, the game also does an excellent job with its gore and blood effects, and this time they look even better. Watching bullets tear through enemies during the cinematic kill cams is especially satisfying and adds a lot to the impact of every successful sniper shot. However, just like in the previous game, the character models are one of the weaker aspects of the presentation and look noticeably outdated. The biggest issue is that their lips still barely move while speaking, making conversations feel awkward and low quality. And while the overall visuals are great, some scenes, much like in Contracts 1, have a low budget and outdated appearance, especially when compared to modern games today, even if that wasn't necessarily the case when the game originally released in 2021. Now let's talk about the sound. The sound design of Sniper Ghost Warrior Contracts 2 is good and even a slight improvement over Contracts 1. Just like in the previous game, the main characters, this time Raven and Alex, deliver believable voice acting that fits their roles well. However, the villains and the ordinary enemy soldiers sound very unconvincing and often fail to leave much of an impression. I do think the villains sound somewhat better when you finally meet them face to face, but even then, many of their lines still come across as silly rather than intimidating.
We have him trapped, people. He won't go anywhere. And he won't be ganked. Over my dead body.
The enemy soldiers, just like in Contracts 1, constantly repeat the same voice lines during combat, and many of their actions sound unrealistic and unintentionally stupid, making firefights less immersive.
All squads, flank him! Out! Hotel 1-5 to HQ. We have visuals on Tango. Base, we have the enemy's position. Over. Victor 3 to base. We have enemy contact. Over. Roger. Fire at will. Out.
On the other hand, the weapon sound effects are excellent, just like in the previous game. The sniper rifles in particular sound powerful, and hearing a shot connect with an enemy makes every successful kill feel even more satisfying. The environmental audio is also very well done. The ambient sounds around you make it feel like you are actually exploring a desert environment, especially during quiet stealth sections where the atmosphere becomes much more immersive. The music that plays during enemy detection sequences is not very good, however, and becomes repetitive very quickly, just like it did in Contracts 1.
Man down. Find the fuckers.
The soundtrack that plays on the main menu and during the end credits, however, is absolutely amazing. I found myself wanting to listen to it again and again, and it's one of the biggest reasons why I think this game's overall sound design is better than that of Contracts 1. Here, listen to this soundtrack. Now let's move on to the final section, which is the replayability. When it comes to replayability, Sniper Ghost Warrior Contracts 2 offers better reasons to revisit its content than the previous game, although its replay value is still somewhat limited. You can replay the game using many of the same options found in Contracts 1, including playing on higher difficulties, completing all of the mission challenges in each contract, fully upgrading your character's abilities, unlocking every weapon and attachment, and exploring the maps to find all of the collectibles hidden throughout each contract. Since the game is longer than its predecessor and much more enjoyable overall, it's easy to replay it multiple times and still have a lot of fun experimenting with different approaches to each mission. Despite all of that, the game can eventually lose some of its impact over time, mainly because there are not many activities beyond replaying the contract missions themselves. Even so, I still find myself coming back to it whenever I want to enjoy some satisfying sniping gameplay, and it remains a great time every time I revisit it. Now let's summarize everything with my overall impression. Sniper Ghost Warrior Contracts 2 delivers great gameplay, great graphics, good sound design, and plenty of enjoyable replayability options. As usual with the Sniper Ghost Warrior series, the story is once again its weakest aspect and remains the biggest flaw of these games. However, thanks to the extremely satisfying sniping gameplay and the well-designed environments, the game stays engaging and fun from beginning to end. This is easily the best Sniper Ghost Warrior game to date, and I hope the developers either create a sequel with a genuinely good story, or continue improving the sniping mechanics to make them even more enjoyable than they already are. It definitely deserves a higher score than the previous game, and here it is. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more insightful review videos. Feel free to share your thoughts on whether the points I've raised resonate with you or if you have a different perspective, and leave your suggestions in the comments about which game you'd like to see reviewed next. That's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this video and thank you all for watching.